Imagine this situation. A plane is flying, and all four engines stop at an altitude of over 11,000 meters. This is a true story, and the commander's words have gone down in history as the most understated announcement in aviation. On June 24, 1982, over the Indian Ocean, a British Airways Boeing 747 was operating its flight with 263 passengers on board. They were flying peacefully through the darkness when the unthinkable happened. First, the crew noticed a massive blue glow, like electrical discharges sliding across the cockpit windshield, and then sparks began to flicker along the wings, as if the plane were leaving a trail of fire behind it. Captain Eric Moody and his crew were highly experienced, with thousands of flight hours. Bad weather, turbulence, emergency situations. They had practiced it all, at least in flight simulators. But no one had ever seen this. An alarm sounded that every pilot fears. First, engine number 4 stopped. A few seconds later, engine number 2, then the first, and finally the third. In less than a minute and a half, all 4 engines had completely failed. Silence. At an altitude of 11 kilometers. Losing one engine is unpleasant. 2 is a serious emergency. 3 is a catastrophe. But no one was prepared for the failure of all 4. It was impossible. The captain found himself at the controls of a 300-ton glider without thrust, without power, and with 263 lives behind him. The plane began to drop rapidly. Below was the black abyss of the ocean in mountainous Indonesia. The crew had only minutes to find a solution. They tried to restart the engines. In the cabin, passengers saw strange sparks, and then decompression occurred, and oxygen masks dropped. The air filled with acrid smoke and the smell of sulfur. And then, the calmest voice you can imagine spoke. The commander said, "Ladies and gentlemen, this is your captain speaking. We have a small problem. All 4 engines have stopped. We are doing our damnedest to get them going again. I trust you are not in too much distress." A small problem. 4 engines out over the ocean. This wasn't just British stiff upper lip. It was true leadership. In the cockpit, there was total chaos, but it was controlled. First Officer Rogers' oxygen mask broke, and he was gasping in the thin air. The commander began an immediate descent to reach a zone where they could breathe without masks. The flight engineer frantically flipped through manuals for engine restarts. They tried again and again. Nothing worked. 10 attempts, 12, 15. Every failure cost them altitude and time. 15,000 feet, 14,000, 13,000. Somewhere in the darkness below them, mountains loomed. And suddenly, at 13,500 feet, the incredible happened. Engine number 4 coughed and came to life. Then the third, then the second, and finally the first. All 4. The engines had been dead for almost 13 minutes. After dropping 13,000 feet, they were working again. There was thrust, control, and hope. But the danger wasn't over. Whatever had shut down the engines had completely ruined the windshield. It had become almost opaque, as if sandblasted by millions of microparticles. Captain Moody could see almost nothing. He had to land the damaged plane almost blindly. Using the side windows, instruments, and guidance from the ground, Captain Moody incredibly landed the crippled Boeing 747 in Jakarta. No one died. All 263 people walked off the plane alive. Only after landing did it become clear what happened. A volcano had erupted on Java. It spewed a giant cloud of ash into the sky, and Flight 009 flew right through it in total darkness. Volcanic ash isn't smoke. Its tiny particles of glass and rock are invisible to radar, and at night, they are physically impossible to see. In the hot jet engines, the ash instantly melts, turns into a glass-like mass, and chokes the turbines. The engines only came back to life because the plane dropped below the cloud, where the cold air allowed the hardened glass to break off. It was a miracle, but a miracle made possible only by the professionalism of the crew. This story changed aviation forever. Global volcanic ash detection systems were created, along with instant alerts for airlines and special volcano tracking programs. Captain Moody and his team didn't just save 263 people, they saved thousands in the future. His famous phrase is still quoted in aviation schools. "We have a small problem. All 4 engines have stopped." That is leadership, calm amidst chaos, decisiveness amidst fear, and resilience in the face of the impossible. The main lesson: the impossible happens, but you must be ready. Calmness saves lives, panic kills us. Never give up. The crew tried more than 15 times. Had they stopped at the 14th attempt, no one would have survived. In 13 minutes, the crew defeated the impossible.